Hello guys from RC Science, welcome back to a new video. Today I have a tutorial for you guys how to refill your shocks, so let's go. Like I said, in this tutorial I'm gonna teach you guys how to refill your shocks, okay? First, what you need to refill your shocks is some shock oil named like silicone oil, your shocks, some kitchen paper, and a bowl where you can dump your old shock oil in. Okay, first we're gonna disassemble the shock so it can work better. Okay guys, as you can see, I've disassembled the shock. Now we're gonna dump the excess oil, what's in the shock, into the bowl. So first you put off the shock cap and place it right here so it can sit there for a minute to drip the shock oil out. Then you're gonna pour the old shock oil into the bowl. And now not everything is out, so you put the shock down like this. So and you put this down like for 5 minutes, and then all the shock oil, old shock oil, can drip out. Now we're gonna do the same with the other shock. So I will be right back when I've done that. Okay guys, all the old shock oil is out of the shock, and we're gonna take a look how much is gone out. It's pretty much, very much old shock oil, so that's good. Now every old shock oil is out of the shock. What we now need to do is refuel the shocks. So this part you need to listen very carefully, and this is what you need to do very precisely. So this is the shock. Yeah, if you can look inside, there's a space where the shock oil needs to be in. So you want to have this bit over when you put the shock oil in, because the cap also need to be put on back on the shock. So you pick your shock oil. For this I use a tire. You might think why? Because you can put the shock in the tire correctly, so it stands like this. You put your shock oil open and dump your shock oil carefully into the shock. Like this. Gonna take the camera and give you a quick view how much is in there and how much it isn't. So as you can see, there's this bit over of the shock oil. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same with the other one. Place the camera properly back. So now you can take the bowl away and put the next shock into your tire. I'm gonna take it in my hand, that's also easier for you guys to see. Gonna put the shock oil in. Like this. Now what you now need to do is you need to listen very carefully, because if you don't do this, your shock is going to be very less responsive. So what you now need to do is put the shock spring over here. Now the shock extension leg, you need to put it up and down. You might think why? Because all of the air bubbles that are in the shock oil, you need to get those out. So put it a few times up and down, and now you need to let it sit for about also 5 minutes. So I'm gonna put it back into the tire like this, properly place it, and pick the other one and do the same with the shock. You need to hear that sound, what you're hearing right now. As you can see, there are some air bubbles inside. You guys cannot properly see it very good. So now you place the shock back in your tire. if you can, or just place it to a wall like this. And now let it sit for another 5 minutes, and then we're going to continue to build our shocks back on. Okay guys, I've let the shocks sit for around 5 minutes so all the air can get out. So now the only thing we need to do is put the shocks back together. So I'm gonna start with this one. Carefully pick the shock out of the tire, pick the shock cap, put it back on like this. So, and then put the string, what I have, or the ring, back on. Pick the suspension, pull this thing down, pick the under cap, put it on like this, properly on. And now we have one shock. I'm gonna do it off camera with the other one, and I'll see you when I'm done. Okay guys, I'm done with reassembling the other shock now. So I'm gonna tell you guys in a little short story what we did in this video. First, disassemble the shock, then put the old shock oil into a bowl, then let it leak out for around like 5 minutes. Then put the new shock oil in and leave a bit of space open so the shock cap can go on. Then put the shock then let it sit for around 5 minutes straight up, and then put the shock cap back on and assemble the shock again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, drop them down below into the comments. See ya!